Hey, this is Kelly from the Dolly Rocks.
This is Joe Queer from the Infamous Queers.
Hey, Sleepy P. Martini.
Hey, this is Indica Flower.
And you are listening to
Our Brains Hurt.
Our Brains Hurt.
Our Brains Hurt.
Losers.
Well, they needed a jingle for their stupid little show, so they called up the Jasons and we said, fuck no. Then they called us again and they gave us $20 and we wrote them a song that said, your podcast sucks. Then they gave us more money and they asked us really nice and we finally gave in and we said, all right, I'll write you a song, but it's gonna be a clone of a Screeching Weasel song that we heard a while ago. So we wrote them a jingle and it sounded really rad. It was the best little jingle that their podcast ever had, but the file got corrupted and the email didn't work. Now they're stuck without a jingle singing Our Brains Hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. Our brains hurt, our brains hurt, our brains hurt. In a very non-copyright infringing sort of way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Our Brains Hurts. This episode is brought to you by PunkBox. Head over to punkboxrocks.com. That's punkboxrocks.com for your monthly subscription service to punk rock merch. Everything you would find at a punk rock merch table at a punk show, sent to your house once a month. This could include stickers, button patches, koozies, vinyl, cassettes, CDs, everything you could think of once a month. It's an awesome subscription service, punkboxrocks.com. This show is also brought to you by Merch Slut. Head over to merchslut.com for awesome band t-shirts, punk rock band t-shirts. Merch Slut gets her shirts directly from the band or the label. These are not cheap knockoffs. She also has a wide array of awesome punk rock merch. Merchslut.com. Now, let's get to the show. We have Matt Elf.
Oh, is that where'd you get that from?
Christmas.
Oh, you still got some?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all you haven't been able to drink.
Yeah.
So is this like the first ones you're cracking open from Christmas?
Yeah, these are the first real Mad Elves. Last time I had that sour one.
Yeah. I still want to try that sour one, even though it's probably super weird.
You might like it if you like sour beers.
I do.
Yeah, you'll like it then.
Oh yeah, I gotta find that one.
And it's 11%, just like these.
Last weekend we went to a brewery around here called Strange Ways that does a bunch of weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
They had a show. The Goodbye Forevers played, and so did Trash Rocket, which is that other band allegedly.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, they played our show.
Yeah,
they're from here. It was just kind of an impromptu thing. It happened. We didn't have kids. We were like, oh fuck, let's go.
Cool.
They had this beer. There was one beer under their section of funky. And it was so weird. Of course we got a flight, and of course I tried that one.
You got to try it. Yeah.
It was weird.
Funky, there's only one under funky. You have to try that one.
Yep. It was funky too.
What was it?
I don't. It's hard to explain. There was almost a little bit of a vinegary tinge to it at first, but then the back end was smooth and almost nutty, like a brown ale. So it's like,
that is,
I don't know. It was funky. It was better when it was super cold. As it started to get warm, it started to get
extra funky.
Yeah, more towards the vinegary side, I guess.
Yeah.
But when it was super cold and fresh, I actually quite liked it. I was like, this is weird. It like, I don't know if I liked it or not, but it made me want to drink more of it. Like every sip I took, I was like, I got to take another one. It's just so.
Hey, if your beverage has that, you win.
Yeah. No
matter how bad it is, if it becomes addicting after one sip, you've discovered something.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I went out to LA this past week.
Yeah.
We got matching NoFX tattoos.
You got a NoFX tattoo, yeah.
Yeah, my first band tattoo.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I never thought in a million years my first band tattoo would be NoFX, but it is. Yeah, this is the year of NoFX for me.
Yeah.
Got a tattoo. I'm going to see them, and they're going to break up.
It's so weird that you never have seen them.
I don't know how that's happened.
Yeah.
I flew first class out to LA.
Oh, did you?
I should have never done that.
No, because now you don't want to.
Oh my god!
Again, do you?
I flew coach on the way back, and I felt like I was in a fucking bird cage.
Yeah,
it's Jesus.
The seats are so much more roomy up there. They're way more comfortable. But God, it's so expensive, or at least it can be so
Yeah.
more expensive. Yeah.
If you have never flown first class and you can't afford to do it all the time, don't do it. Don't do it once.
They give you those hot towels. Did you get the hot towel?
Yeah, dude, we got served like real food on real plates.
Yep.
Free
You get
alcoholic. I didn't drink, but there was free alcohol.
free drinks. Yeah.
You have your own attendant.
Yeah.
The seats are like a nice leather chair that would be in your living room. You have the crazy infotainment system. Like you get to get on the plane first, get off the plane first.
Yep.
Man,
I know it's a wonderful.
is.
It's those hot towels, man. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, it made flying go from a miserable experience to like a whatever experience. It like surpassed that to actually enjoyable.
Now think back to this about how expensive first class is now.
Mm-hmm.
And not that long ago, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, you still could go up to the little desk at front, before you get on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this little secret, but I did.
Yeah, to upgrade.
Yeah, but it was cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, can you let me know if there's any
Mm-hmm.
do you have anybody on a waiting list for first class if there's standby if somebody doesn't show up? Oh no, sir, we don't. Well, if somebody doesn't show up on standby, I would like to upgrade. Would be interested in upgrading to first class. How much is that? And it would be like, okay, it would be $100 extra, sir.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, you just let me know. I'll be right.
Yeah.
I'll be right over here. And like
Usually it's
almost
like
every
$1,000
time.
extra.
Now, yeah, it could be or more than that. But back then it was only like usually it was like $100 extra.
Yep.
I'd be like, I'm gonna sit over there. And like almost every time.
Yeah.
There would be somebody that didn't show up for first class.
Yep.
Or there'd be a first class. Oh, yes, sir. We have 3 seats available in first class. Would you like to upgrade for $100? Yes, I would.
Yes, I would. Before you finish the sentence, you're already in first class.
Why, that's so kind of you to offer.
It is. It's not a little better. It's a lot. It's way better.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
agree.
man, but the only reason I did it because I bought, I flew Delta to LA, but I flew United back, so I got 2 one-way tickets. And the one way on Delta for coach was like $375, but first class for some reason it was only like $588. So I was like, fuck it, I'll spend the extra $200 and get first class.
Well, that's an extra 200 ain't bad if you're going that far. Yeah, nowadays at least.
Yeah.
God, I miss that shit.
Oh, man, it's so nice.
I have my friends that always ride first class. I'm always like, oh God, I miss it. It's so much better. And they're always like, it's not that much better. And I'm like, then ride coach.
Yeah,
Take your first class seat. Go ahead. It's not that much better. I might as well just save the $1,000 and ride coach. I'll take your first class.
Exactly. Plus, you separate yourself from the riffraff.
Oh yeah. There ain't
of which I am a proud member, but I could pretend I'm not for a few hours.
No crying babies.
Yeah.
Nobody who's going to take their fucking shoes off and shove their fucking feet in between the seat. What the fuck is that? Why?
It's so gross.
Why do people think that's appropriate?
I don't know.
But you like when Brad just walked in the door, I was like, like on a plane and people take their shoes off and shove them in between the seat or put their feet in where, like, why?
Yeah.
Don't take your fucking
I'm a
shoes
fucking
off on the plane.
yeah. You put your naked ass feet near me on a plane. I'm gonna stab your toes.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to stab them with, so I'm gonna have to get inventive. Like you're getting paper
teeth.
cuts from the on-flight magazines.
Bite your toes off and take a shot with it, like in Canada.
Yeah, you're getting paper cuts right in between your toes.
Yeah.
I'll be crafty like MacGyver.
Yeah, I took a red eye back. It was nonstop. We left LA at 10:30 p.m. Got it here at 6:30. And it was just coach. There was nobody sitting right next to me, so it was just me and a dude on the aisle seat. So that was nice.
Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Yeah, totally. But this couple got behind me with their 2 young kids.
Oh, fuck.
And they opened up right when they sat down. They opened up this bag of snacks, which I think was a bag of farts. I don't know how they were eating farts, but that's what it was because it smelled.
It was probably pork rinds. It's probably bad pork rinds.
Maybe. So we got OBH Sports. Matt, you want to give a little intro?
We got OBH Sports.
There we go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So new brand, not a rebrand,
Mm-hmm.
because OBH is going to stay the same that it ever was. You're still going to get your classic OBH episodes every Sunday, as you love them and you know them. But we're starting an offshoot podcast because I like sports. Ron likes sports.
I do.
And our good buddy here, Travis, who you know and love, who's been on, I think, 4 times at this point.
Yeah.
This would be number 5, is joining the OBH family under the new and improved offshoot podcast called OBH Sports.
Yes.
So welcome, Travis. You get 3 of us now.
This is just the dream I never knew I had until we started talking about this. And like every time I talk about you guys, even it's like when we're talking, it's supposed to be about music, and it just deviated every single time.
Yep.
I think it was a natural progression.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and you know, I know what some of you people out there are thinking right now, which is like, sports, really? What the fuck? You guys are punk rockers. This is a punk rock podcast. You're going to do a sports podcast? Really? A sports podcast? Yeah, we are. But this is going to be a little bit of a different sports podcast because we're not going to be TMZ Sports, number one. We may talk a little bit about some people in their personal lives or whatever, but like, this is not what the rest of the sports world now focuses on. Fucking athletes and what they do outside of the fucking sport. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what fucking some wide receiver for Georgia Tech did in the club fucking on Tuesday night. I don't care.
Yeah.
dudes in fucking college. You know, I don't care. We all get
Unless
crazy.
my daughter was there.
Yeah. Then in which case, yeah, that's not a national matter. That'll be taken care of like men.
And no, she wasn't, because she's got a good head on her shoulders. She was studying at home.
She's at Kentucky.
And she's at Kentucky.
Not a club in sight, just trees and cows.
But we're going to do this a little bit differently because I know some of y'all out there do like sports. You told Ron and I as much the last time Travis was on and we did Punks on Sports.
Yep.
Which is kind of where this stemmed from.
And we spelt it correctly as to let you guys know we were serious. PUNKS.
Yeah.
Not PUNX. Because we can spell.
And sports, SPOURT.
But that's wrong.
But yeah, it'll be a little bit different. It'll be somewhat the same, but it'll be a little bit different. There'll be some fun stuff in there for everyone.
It's like one of those dreams you have, like when you wake up, like, was that a dream or was that real? Because it could have went either way.
Oh, it's real, baby.
Oh, it's real.
Yeah. So this is your next episode of OBH and your kind of first episode of OBH Sports.
Yeah. We're combining the first one into one just so people can know what we're doing. And then after that, we're going to do one every other week.
Yeah. I'm thinking every other Wednesday just to have it in the middle of the week.
Yep. I think that.
So that's when I'll put
them out on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Plus, that's good for like the NFL season. You get it right before the football,
Mm-hmm.
the football starts.
Yep.
It's gonna make for very entertaining content since we're all in the same fantasy football league.
Oh yeah.
And we're all fans of teams in the same divisions,
which is crazy
across sports, pretty much.
Yeah.
By all intents and purposes, we shouldn't be friends. Like,
I know.
I don't befriend Mets fans. I don't befriend Jets fans.
But here we are.
Here we are.
He's a fellow Italian who has the 7 fishes dinner, and we'll be fine.
That's right.
Matt is just so tall and handsome. We just accept him.
I'm gonna be there for those 7 fishes.
Yes.
You watch me. You can't.
Not with that gout, bud. Not with that gout. I promise you.
You can't keep me away.
You'll regret it. You'll regret it within 15
seafood
minutes.
flare that shit up. The seafood flare that shit up, gout.
Not that I know of.
Shellfish though is a culprit.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I wouldn't know firsthand, but I've read about it.
It's whatever creates purines. Like your kidneys create. Like
I don't know how I haven't had gout in my life because I've been a fat man for most of my life.
Yeah,
it's uric acid, so it's how your kidneys process some things. And I'm a fat guy as well. Have been for the last several years. And I kind of just eat and drink whatever I want, kind of like a campground raccoon. And I thought I had it once, but it was just something else. But man, if it feels anything like the thing I thought I had, it hurts.
Live fast, eat trash. That's
Subtastics. Shout out Subtastics, Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah, shout out Subtastics. That's the way to live.
Too many menu items with the word rodeo.
Speaking of rodeo, OBH Sports.
Let's go.
We're not going to talk about rodeo.
Yeah, I'm the rodeo expert.
Wait, should we just go off? Do you want to do your soccer segment right
I'm
now?
the rodeo. I want to talk about rodeo clowns for an hour. You ever see Shakes the Clown?
I mean, that is a sport.
Oh, it's a sport. Yeah.
Shakes the Clown?
Yeah.
No.
It's with Bobcat Goldthwait or whatever from Police Academy.
Is this an older movie?
Yeah, it's from the 80s, and it's basically like a clown society. Like the top clowns are rodeo clowns, and the lowest clowns are mimes.
Oh,
I never even group mimes in with clowns.
Like the mimes get jumped all the time. They can't run away because they're like stuck in a bubble.
How have I never seen this movie?
You have to watch this movie.
Yeah, yep, I sure do.
Shakes the Clown.
This must have been Tarantino or Darren Aronofsky, right? This was some sort of like top shelf, huh?
It's dark.
Yeah, and then regular clowns like the mid society,
like birthday clowns.
Yeah,
mall clowns.
Yeah, but it's funny because like rodeo clowns are the bullies.
The street clowns would they be considered street clowns?
I think so.
You walk up to them, they're snapping.
Yeah,
like all the clowns that like 6-7 years ago everybody were seeing all over the place
in the fucking woods, especially in Florida.
Yeah, it was more than likely some sort of elaborate promotion for it, but
that was like around the world too, right? So
a little bit.
It was happening in England, I think.
There was one on my street, right around the corner from my house. Yeah, but everybody's pretty sure it was just some dumb college kid who walked up to a woman sitting at a stop sign and stuck a clown mask in her window.
Yeah.
Well, either that or it was bus people.
The people.
Bus people and clowns. They tout the same realm.
I never knew they existed until that one episode.
What, bus people?
Yeah.
Oh, they exist.
Well, I believe it.
I live a block from a Greyhound station. Bus people are real.
That's the kind of neighborhood Matt lives in.
Yeah.
If you live a block away from a Greyhound bus station,
well,
you're locking your doors at night.
Well, yeah, definitely. But like, it's weird because like my neighborhood is a really nice neighborhood.
It is actually. Yeah.
But the corner down where I'm at used to be not a great area, and so there's like a couple crack motels. One of them just got bought and is like being redone up, so it's not going to be a crack motel anymore. But the other one was converted into apartments, but it's where
you mean like squatters, or is it like an actual proper hotel?
No, it's a little motel. It's an old school little like crack motel. And then there's this other one that it was converted into apartments, but now it's like where like divorcee dudes live that have to pay too much in child support and can't afford anywhere else.
Hey,
like two of them.
The crack motel is a really funny. It's like Crack Motel by Hilton.
Yeah. There's like, clearly people slinging shit out of there. There's a corner store.
Why don't we go around the room or the internet and talk about, let's kind of give each person give an intro on like their sports fandom / playing career, if there was one. Just kind of like so the good people out there on the internet can kind of get a basis to like who we're fans of and all that shit. Matt, you want to start it off?
Yeah, all right, I'll start it off. All right. My sports fandom and
boo.
Yeah.
This is already a caustic relationship.
Yeah. My shit goes back a long way. I grew up, I was just athletic. I was drawn to them. My family was in, athletics a lot in athletics. It was in my genes. So I grew up playing basketball, baseball, hockey and football. Played baseball, basketball, and football through. Well, I should say I played baseball and basketball through like up to like my freshman year of high school, and then football through high school, and hockey from like 12 to 18, and then from like 30 to 36, I guess.
So you played as an adult.
I did, and then I played in a flag football league again in my late 20s.
Cool.
Here in Fredericksburg. That was there was like in the A league there, and I played against a bunch of ex-NFL players. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it was super competitive, like flag football league, indoor flag football.
I'm sorry if I missed it, but what position did you play?
So in football specifically, when I went, let's see, started out as a corner, played safety a bunch, played wide receiver a little bit, and then in flag football, when I went back older, I was quarterback.
You're tall. You're 6'2" or 6'3", right?
6'3". Yeah, and I was actually that flag football team in that league that I was playing against. There was a couple of NFL guys and a lot of semi-pro guys in that league. I was a quarterback, safety, like starting quarterback, starting safety, and I was a kicker too for the team.
Nice.
Kickers are money, bud.
Yeah. So there's that, and that's why I love sports, because I am athletic. It's in my genes. I had to play them growing up. I had to play everything because it was super fun, and I love to run for sports. I hate running for anything else.
It's funny how that works, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then a lifelong DC sports fan. So all the DC teams, the Wizards, the Commander, the Commies, the Nats, and Caps, of course. Lifelong fans of all of those since the early to mid 80s. I've been watching all those teams, and
Skins were a fun team to follow through the 80s, man.
Oh my god, dude! I got to go to RFK when it was kicking, one of the hardest places for opposing teams to play, awesome. To come in. The people used to jump up and down. It used to shake. I've experienced it. I was at the famous like seat cushion game in the playoffs when the Skins won the Super Bowl in the 91 Skins won the Super Bowl.
Was that with Ripon?
Yeah. I was at the first home, because we got to bye in the first round of the playoffs. The first home playoff game, it poured cats and dogs. And I was at it with my uncle. It was my granddad was the sheriff of Arlington County, Virginia for like 27 years. Oh, damn. And so like the Skins just kind of, because Arlington, used to be a part of DC, was given back to Virginia in like the 1800s. So they gave my granddad like lifelong season tickets.
Oh shit.
And it was 17th row, 50-yard line seats too. And so he was allowed to pass them off to one of his kids. So he passed them to my uncle.
Oh, nice.
And so my uncle has, he like keeps one or two games down, sells the package of the other ones to other people. But
I was going to say, did you have to do like a weekend at Bernie's thing with your grandfather to keep the tickets going?
No. He just gave them to my uncle. It was great. Yeah.
No, he's still alive. He's 146.
Yeah, they allowed him to pass on the ticket. My uncle didn't get them for free, but they were it was basically like he could pass on to one of his kin. Nice. And they could continue paying for his two seats.
We gotta exhume him again.
Yeah.
Your grandfather is literally a skeleton.
He made an arrest too while we were doing it. I'm pretty sure it was a Philly fan. Yeah.
I'm doing great.
Makes sense.
But yeah. But yeah, so I was at that game. That was rad. I was like 12 years old, 13 years old, in pouring ass rain in the playoffs, and they gave out free seat cushions, and we beat the shit out of the Falcons. It was like 24-7. And
Let's
everybody
go.
That game became infamous because everybody started throwing the seat cushions onto the field, and they were those big old clunky ones, You can watch, look it up on YouTube. You can watch it. I was at that shit. It's crazy.
They could also been a fucking life raft on a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was raining
airplane
so
right
hard.
There.
Yeah. That was the first, I think that was the first football game I ever went to, actually.
It's a hell of a start.
Yeah, I can't remember if I went to one before that or not. But yeah,
my first NFL game was also a Redskins game. Giants, Redskins. Yeah.
In New York?
No, here.
Oh, was it FedEx or RFK?
RFK.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good, because
Yeah.
FedEx sucks balls.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm so glad we're getting rid of Dan Snyder. I can't believe it happened.
No, you love that guy.
It's like
Uncle Dan.
like we won the Super Bowl this year. It doesn't matter what the Commanders do this season. They can go 0-17. And
Yeah, it's already a winning season.
and we won the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. We won. We win.
It'll be the
Nobody else
first
can
winning
take it from
season
us.
with a losing
It's like-
record.
No one can take this from us. But yeah, giant Caps fan, had season tickets for 5 years.
Nice.
Know a lot of people in the Caps organization, or at least I used to. Still know a few people, but they were real good to me. Huge hockey fan. God.
My family is friends with Craig Laughlin, the
Oh
dude,
yeah, he's
announcer.
the color
guy.
commentator for
Yeah.
for the Caps. Yeah, I love that dude. People hate him because he has a weird voice, but
No, I
He's-
like him. He's
love
cool.
him,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. He's a great announcer.
Yeah. He
Or
does
I
have a
should
weird
say
voice.
color.
though.
Yeah, he does. But Joe B, his counterpart, is like the best in sports. He would have been the Doc Emmerich for the NHL. So you know how Doc Emmerich announced for the Devils, but then he also would do all the nationally televised games on
Oh, okay. Yeah.
whatever network they were on at that point in time
Yep.
for the longest time. Joe B, who was ours, was Doc Emmerich before Emmerich got hired for that. Do you remember when I guess it was NBC Sports, and before it was NBC Sports, it was something else. But before that, do you remember when the Versus network had the NHL?
I do.
And Versus got bought out by somebody and turned into whatever network, and so hockey just kind of transferred to them. But Joe B was the national guy there for a little bit when Versus was still hosting the NHL, and when they went from Versus to whatever, I guess, I don't know, kind of didn't work out there. Maybe, when networks change into other stuff, they tend to hire other people sometimes or wipe the board clean or whatever. So he was like an unfortunate, casualty of that. But that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll take him back. He's ours. We love him.
I was like Tim McCarver for the Mets. Tim McCarver did all the Mets. He was like the Mets announcer, but he also did all the national shit.
He passed away recently.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, it was like a couple months ago or something. R.I.P. Dude, that guy was my favorite World Series announcer.
He's good.
And
Yeah.
he was a catcher, if I'm not mistaken, right?
think
When he
you're
used to
right,
play
yeah.
baseball.
I
When he
think
was
you're right.
he was in that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a catcher. I love Tim McCarver, man. Like, when anybody brings him up, the immediate World Series that pops in my head, Ron, you probably remember this. I don't know, Travis, you might have been a little young for this World Series.
Just because I know the history, I know what you're gonna say.
it was such a big deal back then. But that Braves Twins World Series,
Yeah.
Ron, I know you remember how big
I
that
remember,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. It was
DJ.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was a big one, man.
In the early 90s. I think it was 91.
Yeah.
92?
It was
I don't
It was
know.
91.
Yeah, 91. It was such a big deal for everybody. I don't know why that World Series was so important, but it was.
That was Crime Dog, Freddie McGriff.
Yep. I mean, fucking what was his name? Fucking Mark Lemke, man.
Dude, if I'm not cutting you off on your
No.
sports here,
No.
my mother, so I grew up Braves fans because there was no Marlins. So we grew up Braves fans. Every night we were watching the Braves on TBS because that's all we did. Baseball.
That's right.
was
They
a
own
thing.
the South, basically, right?
They did.
Ted Turner owned the fucking South.
Yeah.
And my father and I hated Mark Lemke. He was just a utility player. He couldn't really hit. He was like
sucked.
that guy. Yeah, he sucked. He was like this guy, Rafael Belliard, who could play middle infield, but he couldn't hit a fucking baseball.
Belliard
And
was
so-
a badass defender.
He was a
He
great
was
middle
great with the
infielder,
glove.
but
Yeah.
Mark Lemke, he couldn't do fucking anything. He was a lefty. And I remember he popped out to end the World Series against the Yankees. Was it the Yankees where we lost? No, or was the
96.
95 or 6? He popped up to end the World
95.
Series.
It was 95.
95. And he popped up to end the World Series. And my dad and I were like, see, no good. And I'm like a kid, like Mark Lemke, for whatever reason, my mother loved this guy. Loved this guy, a completely mediocre player.
But-
And sorry, when you said Mark Lemke,
No.
it just triggered a memory in my bad.
Well, the only reason I said his name in the first place is because in the playoffs that year, in that Cinderella Braves season where they went to the World Series against the Twins, and damn it, the Braves deserved to win that one. It shouldn't have been the Twins. It went to 7 games. Everybody was so disappointed. But Lemke killed it in the playoffs. That was
know he did.
that was the
And
big. He was that little man hero that everybody dreams of, and they played the song from the fucking what was the fucking show with the superhero who used to fly through the windows of the office buildings in the 80s?
Great American Hero.
Yeah, the Great American Hero. They were
Yeah.
playing that song, the theme song for him. What is this walk up music? Yeah, it was great, man. It was what epic TV.
He was such a
Cool.
bum, though.
He was outside of that glorious playoff run.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that, but it like triggered a core memory.
No, it's
No,
all
that's
good.
Yeah.
Continue with your fandom then, because
Yeah.
you know I'm done. So you said grew up a Braves fan, but what else?
That's actually the perfect like unscripted segue into what I was gonna get into with my fandom, because there was no Marlins. Like when I grew up, like young, 5 years old, playing t-ball from the second I could play t-ball, and I was a t-ball catcher, which is the most irrelevant thing ever. But I just kept catching for the rest of my life because I thought that was the best position ever, especially when you play t-ball and you don't really have to do anything because no one's throwing the ball to you when you're playing t-ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just letting them run around like, fuck. And so anyhow, like baseball was it when I was growing up, like baseball. My dad was a tremendous baseball player, played like Legion posts and like et cetera, middle infielder kind of guy. But all we watched was baseball. There's no Marlins, so it was the fucking Braves. Every night was the Braves on TBS every night. And I would look, as a young kid, I would like look forward to that shit. Like, and my other friends were like, yeah, we're going to go home. We're going to watch like X-Men or whatever the fuck was on. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, no, I'm going to go home. We're going to eat dinner. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to sit on the couch next to my dad. I'm going to fucking watch John Smoltz, Greg Maddox, Mark Wohlers, Steve Avery, that one
Best
racist
pitching staff in
motherfucker,
history.
John
Oh,
Rocker.
Did you say
John
Glavine?
Rocker?
Did you say Glavine?
No, yeah,
Tom.
Glavine was there, but the racist motherfucker was John Rocker.
Well,
And
yeah,
even
yeah.
I remember my dad. That was the first time I realized that people had skewed point of views, because I was real young sitting next to my dad, and he came running out. And I'm like, God, every time this guy pitches is awesome. My dad was like, yeah, but he's kind of messed up in the head.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder what he means by that. And then years later, I realized he was kind of like,
He
kind
went
of
off in New
racist.
York.
Yeah, I was just there. Wasn't John Rocker a Met too?
No, he
Yeah.
went. It was in New York where he
He
went on
Oh,
his racist rampage.
Against
he
the
went
Met.
on a racist
Yeah.
rampage.
And shout out Tom Glavine, 300 wins, New York Mets. Anyway, go ahead.
Wait, what?
So there's editing that can be done. Because I don't mind that Greg Maddox was a Cub. But I do mind that Tom Glavine was a Met.
Yep.
You're not going to edit it, are you?
I'm not. I'm going to make this part even louder.
All right. Well, one and done with the Our Brains Hurt podcast sports. Because you can't disagree with me. I'm just fucking with you. So yeah, that was it. You fucking every night, dude. That was our thing. That's all I knew as a kid. It was looking back on it, it was fucking beautiful. Like, that's the fucking best thing ever. Just every night being able to sit there with my mom and dad, my brother, who very young, as long as he can tolerate it, and watching baseball. The Marlins came around, still a Braves fan. And then, playing baseball throughout my years and getting into playing football, loving football. And yeah, dude, I don't know. Sports are always just ingrained in me. It was funny. I was talking to my dad about it yesterday. It was Memorial Day and we were chilling in the pool. And I always played baseball. Baseball was just second nature to me. And then my freshman year of high school, we had relocated, like our family had relocated. And I decided I want to play football. I kind of watched football. My dad always watched football as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the only sport we actually played was baseball. And so coming into the freshman year of high school where I didn't know anybody, I had this thought. I was like, I want to play football. My dad's like, but you don't really know the rules, but I support your
Mm-hmm.
thing, whatever you want to do. So I went out there for 2-a-days in spring before school started. I didn't know a fucking rule. I was just out there. It was just conditioning. So like, whatever, I can do this. Like, believe it or not, I was in shape like back then. And then it started. And I remember like the first day of pads, they're like, it's 1st and 10. And somehow I had made my way to starting guard without even knowing the rules. And I look over at the guy next to me. His name was, I'll never forget it. His last name was Coker. So I was, I didn't even realize how funny that was at the time. And so I look over at him and they're like, they said 1st and 10. What does that mean? He's like, are you serious, bro? I'm like, yeah, like what's 1st and 10? He's like, it's 1st down. You have 4 downs to try and make another 1st down. I'm like, you're speaking German, whatever. I'm just going to hit the guy in front of me. And for every consecutive year, I just learned the game on the spot. And for every consecutive year, I never not started playing football until I got outsized because I'm 5'8". So I played guard. And the only reason I stayed relevant towards the end of it is because I ended up figuring out how to be a special team snapper. And so I would
snapper. Oh, dude.
So I would do punt snaps and field goal snaps. And the kicker ended up being one of my best friends. And that's
what happens when you're the long snapper.
Dude, special teams most underrated group.
Dude, I could be making $500,000 right now for the Dolphins. You know, maybe I think what's the league minimum?
It's not too late, man.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the shirt I'm wearing. You dress for the job you want, not for the one you have.
Oh, those long snappers, man.
But now being 36 years old, I'm happy to be doing a podcast. It's my dream.
Sweet.
No longer long snapping.
No, I can still do it. I'm just waiting for Mikey D to call me. Hey, get on in here. Put me in, coach. I can play.
Long snapper of your dreams.
Oh yeah.
I think the best part of my life right now is my wife and daughter's ability to tolerate my sportsdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other half of me is all music and like they're in the musicals and plays, and I am fucking too. I'm into all of the arts. And so like over here, I'm watching like on this channel, I'm watching like Billy Elliot, you know, and on this one, I'm watching like Sports Center, and it's a great paradox. Ronnie shakes.
All right, my sportsness. So growing up from a kid, for me it was baseball, soccer. Every fall was soccer, every spring was baseball. Up until high school. And once I started high school, I switched to football. I played football my freshman year of high school. I was a guard, just like Travis, except I only played 3 plays the entire season, not 3 games. 3 plays.
In a row?
In a row, yeah. We were up by 40 points at Queen Anne's. Shout out Arundel High School. And the coach, I remember the coach saying, who hasn't played this year yet? And I was like, I haven't played. Go in there at guard. I was like, all right. I had no idea what I was doing. I just stood there. So, needless to say, that was my first and last year of playing organized football. And then I tried out for the baseball team in the spring. And Arundel High School was like nationally ranked in baseball. It was like a semi-pro fucking. So I didn't make the team. So I was like pissed off, and I was like, fuck it. So I went a totally different route starting sophomore year, and I wrestled in sophomore and junior year. Sophomore year, I wrestled JV, and I was like the number 1 seed in the county tournament, and I got destroyed by some dude who I killed twice during the regular season.
What weight class did you wrestle?
189, but I only weighed like 165 because we didn't have anybody to in that. Yeah, so I wrestled up, and you wrestled up. Yeah, I was undefeated. And it was cool because while everybody else is like spitting in a cup all day and like, you know, wearing rubber suits and bicycling in their bathroom while their shower's on hot, like to lose weight, I'm eating McDonald's. Like, I'm 20 pounds underweight, man. Like,
you're trying to make weight.
Yeah. I'm trying to get as big as possible.
Dude, no, everyone fucking underestimated. Dude, I had some like really good friends of mine that wrestled in high school, and they went to states. They won states. That is such an underrated, especially a high school sport. Mm-hmm. It is so fucking underrated, and it's the hardest conditioning out of all the sports.
Practices were nuts. We had to weigh in before and after every practice, and the practices that we had that were like the day before a meet we would just do it was like a 45 minutes. It was a speed practice. It was just conditioning. And I remember one day I weighed in. There was a 7-pound difference from the sweat.
Jeez.
From that one fucking practice, I lost 7 pounds of water. Wrestling is an incredible sport. It's so fun. It's one-on-one. It's just you, and I boxed when I was in the Navy a little bit too. It's kind of the same deal. Like it's just there's no one to help you. You're out there on your own, and it's like fucking do or die.
I think it's the oldest form of athletics, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Roman Greco, like, or whatever how you pronounce it, wrestling, like it is. It's one-on-one. It's funny. My father, my parents are, well, not my parents, but my father's from, his family's from upstate New York. So in the wintertime, there was no baseball, there was no football. The biggest high school sport was wrestling, and that's what they would do. And it's just fucking, it's unbelievable, dude. Like what they would have to do. When you were talking about the weight loss, and I don't know if this is true, like the water loss between, but I've seen it multiple times, especially here in the coming up to the Stanley Cup Finals. Bobrovsky for the Panthers, and I assume this is across like other NFL or NHL goalies. They were saying, especially Game 5 at Toronto or 4 at Toronto, whichever it was. Don't mark me on that. They said he lost 18 to 22 pounds of water weight that game. Damn. And so I saw a thing where it was like him before and him after, and it was like, it was vastly different, dude. So like,
that's crazy.
And I don't know if that's true. Don't mark me on that because it was just the internet. But he's back there. Just NHL goalies are just back there like tearing ass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. NHL goalies. I think it was you and I, Travis, that were talking about the difference in weight that they lose from like before a game and after a game. It can be like, 20 plus pounds.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. I should just like lay off one Taco Bell meal and then go like goalie one NHL game a week. I'll be good to go. I'll be solid. I'll be looking like Hasselhoff in no time.
Anybody who doesn't think that the goalies get as much exercise as the guy as a regular player skating around, you are so sorely mistaken. I played goalie for a season, and that shit is some of the most taxing.
Yeah, try squatting for hours.
It is the most taxing, tiring thing I have ever done. Like it is no joke playing goalie, and then you're getting fucking pucks thrown at you at like 100+ mile an hour.
Yeah,
and like and you got padding, but like those pads don't necessarily cover everywhere. There's holes in that padding that you can get hit with those pucks. Like, I mad respect for all. That's why for all hockey goalies. That's why they always say like all hockey goalies. You ever meet a goalie from the NHL? They always got these weird little quirks. They
have to be a little crazy.
A little crazy. Yeah. Yes, you do.
So, Ronnie, you said you were in the Navy, huh?
Yeah.
So I had some friends that were on they were on nuclear subs in the Navy, and they're a bit off.
Yeah.
And so like I could probably imagine them being hockey goalies.
Yeah. Submariners or submariners are a special breed.
It's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah. I mean, they go 6 to 9 months at a time without seeing anything.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I thought he had the crazy eyes when I knew him before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the things that people would do to lose weight in wrestling was mind-blowing. And I clearly remember my friend Tim, I think he wrestled 135, and he was always like right there. And he would just all day long, he would just have a cup and he would just spin in it.
Spit in the cup, spit in the bottle.
Spin a cup. I remember people would go outside because wrestling is a winter sport. At least here it is. And people would just stand outside in their tidy whities and shiver for like an hour or two because you burn a lot of calories when you shiver, apparently. I remember standing in line for weigh-in, which was weird because it's just a bunch of dudes naked, like waiting to get weighed. But it was.
I like being able to imagine Ronnie and his whitey tidies.
Hell yeah. Well, I could have worn a park. I could have rolled up on a fucking mountain bike and weighed in and been fine. But I remember going into the weigh-ins once. There was this one dude who was like a 189-pound senior And I think he ended up wrestling at some big college in the Midwest. But I remember walking in and seeing him, and every hair on his body was cut off. I'm talking eyebrows. It was the weirdest looking thing I'd ever seen, just so he could make weight for a fucking wrestling match. People do a lot of things, but I never had to do that. So
I like to think I'm always wrestling up. I'm always trying to wrestle up to my next weight. That's what I've been doing since, I don't know, 25.
Yeah. So that was sophomore and junior year, and then in senior year I just got into punk rock, and I said goodbye to sports as far as playing goes. But my family is from New York. I'm a New York fan. My grandfather was a New York Giants, a New York baseball Giants fan back when they played at the Polo Grounds.
New York baseball Giants.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bitchin'.
Yeah. So he hated the Yankees. So when the Giants left, and the Dodgers left, instead of becoming a Yankee fan, he just didn't have a team. And then when the Mets came, he became a Mets fan. So that's why fuck the Yankees.
Yeah. I agreed.
Yeah.
Good enough. Good enough.
Yeah. So I'm a diehard New York Mets fan. 1986, baby. Not too long ago.
And you can at least remember it, right?
I was
I
alive. Yeah.
I was just being born.
Yeah. Yeah. So New York Jets.
I got mine a few years ago.
Fucker. I don't think I'll ever see another fucking. I certainly won't see a Super Bowl. The Jets are never going to win the fucking Super Bowl.
I don't know, man. I know Travis is a Dolphins fan, and he's hating on what's going on
Matt,
right now.
all right.
But Rodgers instantly makes them a contender.
No.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't. He's old this time. And as much as I like Aaron Rodgers, I do like Aaron Rodgers.
Bro, Brady won a Super Bowl at 43.
Who the fuck cares?
Well,
nobody cares. Who cares? Do you care? You care? Nobody cares.
His guitars do not care.
Man, they didn't have to. I didn't think they were going to see it. I didn't even have to. I could have been pointing at people sitting around the podcast.
That dude doesn't care.
I'm just telling you right now, Travis, you got to worry about the Jets this year.
I know that, but I want to fucking talk about that right now, okay? I have months before I have to talk about that.
It's only May. We're June almost, basically.
All I want to do is talk about what winning the fantasy football league bought me, and it was a Mesa Boogie head and sitting right next.
By the way, the finalists, the two of us, final game in the fantasy football league.
All right.
That's right.
Let's hash this out. I mean, it was kind of. I wish.
Which, to be fair, really hasn't even been officially. I mean, what's his name had to go ahead and have a heart attack.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault, but technically,
but it's also not your fault.
Yeah.
But 80 point differential maybe wouldn't.
You probably had it.
I think it was squeaked it out.
Yeah.
And besides, you're about to hear the best inside jokes music you've ever heard with the guitar amp head that I bought from that. So
yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. So as far as like pro sports go, I'm a huge Mets fan. I am a Jets fan, but I'm honestly, like, when it comes to football, I like betting on football, and my favorite football team is my fantasy football team. I just love the NFL. I could watch any game anytime. I don't care who's playing. It's just a great sport.
Here.
I love my Jets and I'll root for them, but it's not like baseball. My number one sport overall is college basketball. I went to the University of Maryland I graduated in 99. We won the championship in 2002. We were contenders, like all that during that time. So huge college basketball fan. My daughter goes to the University of Kentucky. So I'm a huge Kentucky Wildcats fan now. Even more so than Terps, because fucking at least Kentucky has a chance of winning something.
The Terps suck now.
But college basketball is my shit. Kentucky and Maryland. Those are my teams.
The night that the Terps won that national championship, and Juan Dixon, who then got drafted by my Wizards, which I loved.
Yep.
But that night, I was actually at the Auto Bar.
Really?
In Baltimore. Yeah, I was seeing Rise Against all the way back in 2002.
Oh shit!
Before they were famous. Yeah,
that's funny. It's funny
we
because
were sitting at the bar watching the game. Yeah,
there was so Maryland had to play the Kansas Jayhawks. It was that tournament. I forget if it was to get to the final game or to get to the Final Four. But we had a show at the Auto Bar. And my friend, Brian, who was my roommate at University of Maryland, I was outside on the phone with him the entire time, and he was giving me the play-by-play for the whole game at the Auto Bar. So we missed each other by a couple days, but we definitely did not play with Rise Against. So it was not the same day.
Well, Rise Against wasn't even the headliner. I can't even remember.
Really?
Who was. Yeah, I mean, they weren't famous. This is before their second album even came out. So all that was out was The Gathering. Yeah. And I remember we watched them play. I cannot remember who was after them, but I do remember that me and my one buddy were at the bar during the band watching the game with the bartenders, and everybody else was up watching the band. Yeah. And it was like, I remember it being between songs when they won. And there was like four of us back there, and we all started hooting and hollering. Like the whole place turned around and was looking back there. We were like, sorry.
Yeah.
Go back to
beat Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana was up at halftime, but then we took it over in the second half. But I love college basketball. I'm not a hockey guy. So when it comes to hockey, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let these two guys, I was a huge, I had a New York Rangers starter jacket once when I was in middle or high school. And I was a Mark Messier fan. I was a fan of the Rangers when they won the cup with Mark Messier. But I haven't really watched hockey since. So
94.
I can't really claim.
Good year for the Rangers. Your Rangers actually looks like they're going to hire my Caps. My Caps coach's contract ran out, and they decided not to bring him back.
Oh, really?
Peter Laviolette. Looks like all signs are pointing to your Rangers are going to sign him as their next head coach. And speaking of which, my Caps signed a new head coach today. Spencer Carberry, come on in, buddy. We love you. It's good to have you. Nice. He used to be the coach of our AHL team, the Hershey Bears. Yeah, cool. I think he won a championship with them before he went on to the NHL. The Maple Leafs stole him from us.
When they pull guys up from the minors.
He's coming home, bro. He's coming home.
Very cool.
Welcome back, Spencer.
Happy for you.
Very cool.
But this is already third best day in my life. A, having my daughter, 2, getting married, and 3, starting this podcast. This is fucking unbelievable.
Hell yeah, dude.
Just hearing it. So we got your hockey covered. If you can do your basketball, we can do the hockey.
Well, I think we can all wrap college basketball, because the fact that we have this now is going to make me get back into college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to March, obviously everyone's into basketball in college.
So speaking of which, my bracket this past season, I know everybody's brackets got screwed up, but mine was incredibly, mine was so bad that I should have won some sort of reverse lottery.
It's like you picked every game wrong.
6%
Here's
accuracy.
$1 million.
6% accuracy when it was all said and done.
I'll roll the dice on that one. 6%?
6% accuracy. Imagine if you got 94% accuracy. That's the opposite. Yeah.
You got 94% inaccuracy.
Yeah.
So say it like it's a cup half full.
If I would have just picked the losers on my bracket as the winners, I probably would have had one of the better brackets in the country.
It's like I just took the cup out of the dishwasher after it's being washed, and there's a little sediment on the bottom.
Yeah,
I'm taking that much.
True story. It was kind of a joke, but even being a joke, how could I be that inaccurate? I mean, I knew that my champion in the final game was not going to be correct, because I went dentistry strong and had fucking Oral Roberts versus Colgate in the final. Oral Roberts taking it all, of course. Who would pick Colgate?
Of course. Oh, Roberts.
Go dentists.
Roberts and his oral fixation.
I don't like you touching my face, but when it comes to basketball, I guess you guys know what's up.
Yeah. I'm also a Premier League fan, English Premier League soccer. Like I said, I played soccer up until high school. I was a huge DC United fan. There was a couple year span where I used to go to a lot of the home games.
Dude, first 4 championships.
Yeah,
MLS.
Yep.
4 straight.
Hell yeah.
First 4.
Yep. That's my
We'll
one.
always
DC
be able to
fan.
have that.
Yeah, DC
Always.
United. I started watching Premier League and I started watching Tottenham Hotspur. They play in Northern England. They had an American goalie, Brad Friedel, for years. And I started watching them. They were on TV a lot because of him. And I just love their style of play. And I'm a big Tottenham Hotspur fan to this day. So maybe we'll do an English Premier League segment.
Ron's gonna have a soccer segment,
Which will last anywhere from 7 seconds to 7 minutes. Depending on what's going on.
Travis, what was the name of Ron's soccer segment gonna be?
Christ, I don't have the literature in front of me, but I think it was something like
I think I remember,
like succulent soccer segment, something of the like.
Well, Ronnie Shake's succulent soccer segment.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And we're gonna build you up, dude. We're gonna build you up to this soccer segment, man.
And you may even see Oz pop in from time to time on this with his own little segment, because we're going to talk about some MMA too, probably a little bit.
Cool.
We may have him popping into his own little short segments on some MMA moves because he's an MMA guy.
Okay. Cool.
I think about punching people all the time.
I'm a big boxing fan, which is like a dead. It's dead now. Boxing, really.
We got ideas.
Like boxing.
We got ideas.
Boxing's like the original. Boxing's like the original before all the UFC and all that shit. I remember watching boxing back in the day, and I went with my dad to his friend's house to watch the fucking, I think it was the Tyson Holyfield fight or whatever.
When he
and I was
his ear?
Yeah. And we're sitting there and he was like, "Hey, come with me." My dad was a firefighter. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Oh, we're going over to my captain's house or whatever. We're going to watch the event, that fight or whatever." And I was like, "I don't care. I just play baseball." And, so we went over there and we were watching it. And then it was like, "Ah, fuck."
Yeah.
Everyone was screaming. I was like, "What are they screaming about?" So
did you guys see that? Speaking of the Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, the ear biting thing, did you see that fucking Mike Tyson put out a line of edibles that are little gummy ears with a little bite taken out of them? This is real.
I heard about that.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Tyson's a beast.
Yeah.
He's still a beast.
Have you seen that recent video of him practicing?
No.
Oh my God. It reminded me of 80s Tyson. He was no slower than 80s Tyson.
Wow. He was a scary motherfucker back then. He was watching a fucking Tyson fight was almost as scary as watching a horror movie back in the 80s. And it was this guy is gonna kill somebody.
If he never has the personal life shit go down that he had, he probably is best boxer of all time.
Yeah.
If he had a straight career and kept going, because of course Muhammad Ali is who he is, but he took the same approach as what's his name recently, Floyd Mayweather. Mm-hmm. He was dodging, floating all around, and precisely striking at the right moment. Tyson, none of that shit mattered to him. He came in and he just overpowered you, and you couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, and that's the excitement that fans really want to see.
Yeah.
If he never fucks up, he may go down as the guy that they call the best of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They said getting a body shot from him was like getting hit by a watermelon at 200 miles an hour.
Jesus, I believe it.
My face would explode.
Your face, my whole body would just be like coins. It would explode into confetti and coins, like a fucking Mario thing or something. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, man. Well, shout out Rocky Marciano, the only I mean, as an Italian American, I have to. Best boxer of all time is Rocky Marciano.
Cheers.
49-0, undefeated.
Salute.
And you know what, Ron? Since you mentioned DC United earlier,
Mm-hmm.
not to get off the boxing subject.
No, that's cool.
I don't know if you remember DC United in this era or not, but do you remember they had that goalie that came out of nowhere named Troy Perkins, and then he ended up becoming an all-star and then went over, got a big contract with some, team overseas or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was DC United's third goalie. He was basically like an injury replacement goalie.
Oh.
Like wasn't good enough to make the team. I used to work with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I worked with him at a place up in, it was called Galleons. It was like Dick's Sporting Goods.
Mm-hmm.
Galleons used to be their number one competitor, but Dick's ended up buying Galleons out. It's like one of those big, huge sporting goods department stores where you had like a rock climbing wall inside. I used to deliver like giant like treadmills and home gyms and all that shit.
Yeah.
But Troy, while he was on DC United, because he was like their third or fourth goalie, he was like basically like a practice squad player.
Yeah.
Didn't make shit for money playing for them. Was working at Galleons, that was his job, and then both DC United goalies go down with season-ending injuries, like right at the beginning of the season, and he gets thrown into the fire. And so, since he's still like whatever level it was, he's not getting paid anything by them because his contract is for like practice squad, basically.
Yeah.
So he's still having to work at Galleons while playing as the starting goalie for DC.
So he's
United.
winning all these games and delivering.
Well, he wasn't delivering stuff with us. He worked in we used to have to go to the store like all the time.
Yeah.
So he worked in the store, but he just like worked in like one of the men's like clothing department or whatever the fuck it was. And so we'd all go in there and tease him all the time, He had work the next morning. We go in there, after they had a big win. We're like, "You tired, Troy? You tired, man? Why are you so tired?" But yeah, and then fortunately the next season he got some huge contract from them.
That's cool. Yeah.
Went on to be an all-star and then got some huge, I think he went to the Premier League actually.
I think you're right.
But yeah, he he's out of nowhere, man. Practice squad to like all-star, like that.
That's cool.
In like 2 short seasons. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So I guess that's my sports thing. I mean, my grandfather, like I said, he was a New York Giants fan, but he also was a bookie. So I remember when I was a kid watching sports with him, he always had his like, piece of paper that he would pull out of his pocket with like all the numbers on it. And he was a Mets fan, but he was a fan of winning money, not having to pay out. So it was, watching sports with him was interesting because it was just a numbers thing. But
It's an old Italian thing though, dude. Like especially back in the city, dude. Like, put this number in here, put this number in there. They had runners in here and there, and that's it's really fucking cool.
Yeah, when he it's funny. He ended up getting mesothelioma, which is that everybody sees those commercials on TV for like cancer of the lining of the lungs from asbestos because he was a construction worker. He was an electrician. Right before he was I've probably told the story, but he was about to start his own bookie place. So I would take him around on runs when he couldn't drive anymore to pick up money from people.
Yeah, you told one of them. You told.
Like he would just be like, "All right, pull up in front of this building," and then like their doorman would come out and shake his hand with like a bunch of money in it. Like, all right, now I'll drive down the street, pull up over here, and it's like basically just his driver taking him on his rounds to collect. So
see, I told you this is going to be a different kind of sports podcast.
This is the real American sports podcast.
That's right.
This is how American sports have been bred, and it's come up like this.
And
it's fucking real life shit.
And we're going to explain to some of you punk rockers that might not like sports so much, if you continue listening, of why you should.
Yeah.
Because it's an art form. Athletics is an art form. A lot of these games are, and there's so much strategy. If you're a strategy person and you don't know about the strategies involved in sports, you may take up, liking one of them.
Yeah.
The same amount of effort I put into writing a song these days is the same amount of effort I used to put into playing sports back then, even though I was still playing guitar and writing songs and et cetera, et cetera. Like the effort is fucking equivalent across the board. And so like when I see an athlete like excelling, they put their whole fucking life into that. So I feel that in the same way as the way I put my life into being or playing that sport, or now writing songs and being a songwriter. Like it, I mean, it resonates with me both the same way.
Yeah, plus the performance thing, man, being on stage and playing an instrument in front of people, or being up at the plate and waiting for that pitch, or being like, on a wrestling mat in front of fans and cheerleaders. It's a high, and it's that same high that you get when you're on stage. There's a lot of similarities there.
Takes an insane amount of focus too.
Yeah.
Like to do some of it.
Yeah, and if you could gamble without a problem, gamble, because it makes sports so much more fun. Shout out gambling.
But next episode will be like, go to DraftKings.com, enter Ronnie S. Ronnie S. But honestly, hopefully that'll be a thing because they'll be getting royalties.
That's right. OBH Sportsbook.
OBH Sportsbook.
I'm on my computer right now. Can you hear the buttons?
This is gonna be fun. It's funny because all of my life, like it's usually I concentrate on one or the other. If I'm really into sports, I kind of let music go a little bit, and I've been into music the past few years, so I've kind of like let sports go a little bit. But this is going to help me kind of focus on both, which is cool.
Yeah, we can make a balancing act.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same for me, but it's like a different head because like years before, all I did was focus on music, and like sports were kind of like on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about within recent years, last 10 years. I was like, all right, I love sports, but music was a thing. I was in various bands, and sports were always here. Within the last like 5 years or so, they intersected, and now like this is like the absolute perfect thing to ever happen. So
totally,
yeah. So rap about it for an hour or so.
Oh yeah,
a couple times a week. Like, yeah, it's kind of needed.
It is,
yeah.
And I was thinking about having a thing where after it like gets up and going, at the end of every podcast, we can ask an open-ended opinion question where people can like email in answers, blah, 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 just hear it. But because what had me think of that, like, well, our fantasy football league, what we do is like everyone keeps a player from their previous roster. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I was like, well, I wonder who people I should, because I have fucking Austin Eckler and Devontae Adams, which are both in question right now. So I'm like, I don't even know who to keep as my number one. So that'd be fun to throw out into the universe to get some answers for, So maybe like coming up, like podcasts to come, maybe that'd be a fun thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Here's your keeper question of the day.
Yeah. We could have locks of the week
episode.
too.
Yeah.
Locks of the week. I mean, it's fucking infinite. It's fucking infinite.
Yeah. This will be kind of like our pre-episode to an episode one. And I was thinking, like I said, every Wednesday night, every other Wednesday, I think is a good idea.
You had to put
especially
them out.
Going into the football season. This way, it's before Thursday. We could cover the entire previous week and talk about the entire upcoming week. This is going to be fun.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Hell yeah, it is.
I think this is going to be quote unquote bitching.
I like talking about sports and not feeling bad that we're talking about sports because this is what this one's about. Usually it's like, all right, let's get back to the music. But we're talking about sports too much. But
it was great because it was like, I'm getting off topic. I'm like, no, I'm totally on topic right now.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, gents.
All right, talk to you guys later.
Later, dudes.
All right, dude. Later.
Thanks for hanging out for another week. Be sure to check out punkboxrocks.com and merchslut.com. Check us out on all social media outlets at Our Brains Hurt and at ourbrainshurt.com. We will talk to you next week. Stay safe. Adios.
How do I do this shit? I can still hear you. So what do I have to press? Close.